What makes Nutella biscuits so dangerously addictive? Is it the crispy, golden-baked shell, the velvety, hazelnut chocolate filling, or is there something else, something hidden, that makes them impossible to resist? These aren't just ordinary cookies. They're a global phenomenon, disappearing from shelves faster than you can say, "Just one more." But have you ever wondered how they're made? What secret techniques transform simple ingredients into the ultimate indulgence? Stay tuned, because we're about to take you inside the Nutella Biscuit factory, where things might not be as simple as they seem. Hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you see your favorite snack. You might think it all starts with the Nutella, right? Nope. It actually begins with flour, and not just any flour. We're talking about special wheat flour, and it's a big deal. Ferrero, the company behind these, and tons of other goodies are super picky about their flour, like almost obsessive. It has to be perfect for the biscuit. Not too strong, not too weak, with just the right oomph. Think Goldilocks, but with flour. Gotta be just right. The flour arrives at the massive factory in huge bags, often delivered by a whole fleet of trucks. It's usually sourced from specific mills that meet Ferrero's incredibly high standards. They don't mess around. They check it carefully, with all sorts of fancy equipment, for things like protein content. That protein is what gives the biscuit its structure. Too much, and it'll be tough like a hockey puck. Too little, and it'll crumble into dust. They also check for things like moisture levels, ash content. It's a whole science. Everything has to be just right to make that perfect, slightly crumbly, golden brown biscuit that we all know and love. Before the flour even gets near the mixing bowl, the giant stainless steel mixing vats, it goes through a serious checkup, like a pre-flight inspection for a rocket. It's sifted, and I mean really sifted, to make sure it's super smooth, without any lumps or bumps or anything that shouldn't be there. These machines, they're basically giant sifters, use these superfine screens to get rid of any clumps. Only the best flour makes it through. It's like the flour gets a spa day before the real baking starts. Now, for the other half of the biscuit equation, the sweet part, sugar. Just like the flour, the sugar is carefully selected, chosen with precision. It's usually fine, granulated sugar, the kind you might use to bake cookies at home, the stuff you sprinkle on your cereal. But Ferrero likely gets it in bulk, in enormous quantities, from suppliers who can guarantee consistent quality every single time. They might test the sugar for things like purity, making sure it's the real deal, and crystal size, because those tiny crystals are important. Those tiny crystals need to be just the right size to dissolve properly in the dough and give the biscuits that perfect sweetness, that perfect little crunch. The sugar and that perfectly sifted flour get weighed out exactly. We're talking super precise, down to the gram, maybe even less. It's all automated with these high-tech scales. This means every batch of dough is identical, so every single biscuit tastes the same. No surprises. Consistency is everything. Now for the secret weapon, the ingredient that gives it that extra something special, wheat germ. This is the heart of the wheat grain, the most nutritious part, and it's packed with flavor and good stuff. Ferrero often toasts this wheat germ, which makes it even tastier. It's like giving it a little tan to bring out this nutty roasted flavor. They're super careful with the toasting, specific temperatures, times, the whole deal, to get the perfect flavor without burning it. This toasted wheat germ, along with the perfectly measured flour, sugar, and a few other secret ingredients, we'll get to those, gets mixed together in giant industrial mixers. These mixers are like the superheroes of the baking world, huge, powerful, and capable of blending tons and tons of dough at once without breaking a sweat. They often have multiple mixing arms or paddles that rotate in different directions at different speeds, ensuring that all the ingredients are thoroughly combined, perfectly incorporated. It's like a perfectly choreographed dance, a ballet of baking, but with flour and sugar. Speaking of secrets, I heard a rumor, a whisper, that Ferrero considered making a giant Nutella biscuit the size of a car, a cookie big enough to live in. True or false? Stick around, because what I found out will blow your mind. I'm talking about a serious cookie conspiracy here, but we can't forget the butter. It's added to the mixer, often in chilled, solid blocks, straight from the refrigerator. The temperature of the butter is super important. It needs to be cold enough to create those little pockets of air in the dough, those tiny bubbles that make the biscuits light and crispy, not dense and heavy. The mixer works its magic, blending the butter into the dry ingredients until it forms a crumbly mixture, like coarse breadcrumbs. It's like making a giant, delicious sandcastle, but way more tasty and way less gritty. Then in goes the liquid, usually a carefully measured amount of water, and sometimes a bit of milk to add extra richness. The liquid helps to bring the dough together, turning that crumbly mixture into a smooth, workable dough, ready to be shaped. The amount of liquid is super important. Too much, and the dough will be sticky and impossible to work with. Too little, and it will be dry and crumbly and fall apart. The mixer continues to work, kneading the dough, working it gently until it reaches the perfect consistency, that Goldilocks, just right feeling. The prepared dough then rests, taking a little break, and is then pressed into a special kind of mold, a custom-designed mold that gives the dough its signature round shape, that iconic disc. These molds have a smooth depression on one side to create that slightly concave shape, and a small pocket, a little well, in the middle, perfectly sized for the Nutella cream. This is where the magic really happens, the Nutella filling. This is done with a special machine, a precision instrument that deposits a precise amount of Nutella, not too much, not too little, into the center of each biscuit. It's like a tiny, delicious injection of pure happiness, a perfectly calibrated dose. The amount of Nutella is carefully controlled, down to the milligram, to ensure that every biscuit has the perfect ratio of biscuit to filling, that ideal balance. Too much, and it might ooze out and make a mess. Too little, and you'll be left wanting more, feeling cheated. The bottom shells, filled with the creamy, dreamy Nutella, are then topped with the top shells, completing the circle, and the two halves get pressed together, sealing that delicious filling inside, safe and sound. It's like a tiny, edible sandwich, but way better, way more sophisticated. This pressing process is often done by automated machinery, with rollers or presses that apply just the right amount of pressure, gentle but firm, to seal the biscuits without crushing them, keeping them intact. Now, it's time for the oven. The assembled biscuits, ready for their transformation, go on a long, slow journey through a giant tunnel oven, a behemoth of baking technology. These ovens are specially designed for baking cookies, with different temperature, zones, areas of varying heat that gradually cook the biscuits to perfection, from raw dough to golden brown deliciousness. The heat transforms the dough, making it rise slightly, puffing up a little, and turning that beautiful golden brown color, the color of a perfectly toasted marshmallow. It also melts the Nutella inside, making it even more gooey and delicious, warm and inviting. The biscuits travel along a conveyor belt, a slow-moving river of cookies, spending a specific amount of time in each zone to ensure even baking. No burnt edges, no undercooked centers. It's like a carefully controlled roller coaster ride, but with cookies and without the loops. As the biscuits come out of the oven, still warm from their baking journey, they're still a little soft, a little pliable. They need to cool down and firm up before they can be packaged, before they can be handled. This cooling process often happens on a cooling conveyor, a long, winding path, a labyrinth of cooling that allows the biscuits to gradually reach room temperature, slowly and gently. This prevents them from sticking together or breaking when they're packed, keeping them perfect. It's like giving the biscuits a chance to chill out, to relax after their hot oven adventure. Twist. Okay, are you ready for the crazy part? Remember that giant Nutella biscuit rumor? The one about the car-sized cookie? Well, it wasn't a car exactly, but they did experiment with larger sizes, bigger biscuits during the development phase. They quickly realized that the perfect bite-sized biscuit, that little disc of delight, was the way to go. Too big, and it's just too much. Overwhelming. Plus, who wants to share a giant Nutella biscuit? I know I don't. Sharing is caring, but not with Nutella biscuits. The small size is part of the charm, the perfect little treat, a moment of pure joy. But wait, there's one more secret, a tiny detail that makes a big difference. Those 7 little holes, those perfectly placed perforations on the top biscuit. They're not just for decoration, they're not just pretty patterns. They actually help the steam escape during baking, allowing the moisture to vent, which helps to create that perfect, slightly crispy texture, that satisfying snap. It's like giving the biscuits a little breathing room, a way to exhale. Before those biscuits can hit the shelves, before they can reach your eager hands, they go through a final check, a rigorous inspection. Everything is looked at: the shape, the color, the filling, and of course, the taste. It's a serious process, with both machines and real people, eagle-eyed inspectors, making sure every single biscuit is perfect, up to Ferrero's exacting standards. Machines might check for things like weight and size, making sure they're consistent, while human inspectors look for any imperfections, any flaws. And, of course, there's the taste test, ensuring that every biscuit delivers that signature Nutella biscuit flavor, that unmistakable taste. Finally, it's packaging time. Machines, whirring and clicking, carefully wrap the biscuits, protecting them and keeping them fresh, preserving that deliciousness. The packaging is designed to be eye-catching and convenient, with those familiar Nutella colors and logo instantly recognizable. The wrapped biscuits are then placed into boxes, sturdy and protective, ready to be shipped out to stores all over the world to satisfy cravings everywhere. So, what's the real secret to Nutella biscuits' amazingness, their addictive quality? It's the careful selection of ingredients, the precise measurements, the special machines, the toasting of the wheat germ, the secret spice blend, the perfectly controlled baking process, and of course, that delicious, unmistakable Nutella filling. It's a whole lot of little things, a symphony of details that add up to one big, delicious result, a perfect cookie. Did you learn something new about the magical journey of a Nutella biscuit, from humble flour to finished product, ready to be devoured? If you did, then do check out the other videos on our channel for more delicious deep dives and more behind-the-scenes looks at your favorite foods. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy a few or maybe a whole pack of these little masterpieces because, let's be honest, who can resist? They're practically calling my name. Until next time, stay sweet.